There are three phases to stroke and aphasia recovery. The first is the foundation phase. The second is connection. And the third is living. Travel happens in that living phase. It takes courage, preparation, and a willingness to put yourself back out into the world. The strategies that help during the holidays are also the same ones that help all year long. Today, we are talking about the travel mindset that belongs in the living phase of aphasia recovery. This is the phase where people with aphasia begin taking control of their life again. Travel is one of the clearest signs that someone is stepping into that next chapter. I'd like you to meet Alvin and his girlfriend Jill. They've worked hard to rebuild communication at home. They've practiced conversations, used strategies in a variety of situations, both with friends, family, neighbors, and out in the community. And they set up their day so that he can stay engaged longer. They moved from the foundation phase into the connection phase of recovery. And this year, they made the goal that they wanted to move from the connection phase to the living phase. Travel, but not just travel, travel with confidence, travel without fear of losing each other in the noise, travel with a plan that protects clarity instead of draining it. Here's what phases of recovery actually means. Phase three is not about perfection. It's about participation. It's about reclaiming the parts of your life you feared or worried were gone forever. And travel can be one of the biggest tests of this. New voices, new situations, fast talking with strangers who don't necessarily know you have aphasia, noise you can't control, tight schedules, challenges, bumps in the road, all of these things that don't pause for you so that your brain can catch up. Without a plan, we already know that the gas tank empties fast. But with the right structure, it becomes a confidence investment, not a confidence test. I want to make one thing really clear before we go on, because I do not want anyone confusing what I mean when I say phase three travel. People travel in every phase of aphasia and stroke recovery. But early on, most of that travel is what I consider to be passive travel. Passive travel is when the trip isn't really yours. You go because someone else planned it. You're guided step by step. Sit here, hold this, follow me. Boarding now, that's not bad. It's support. It's necessary in the beginning of aphasia recovery. But in phase three of your aphasia recovery, travel is something that is completely different. Phase three travel is active traveling. It's when you initiate the trip. It's when you give opinions and make a plan and contribute to the overall success of that travel. It's when you use your strategies on purpose, when you advocate for your needs. You're not being moved through the experience, you're shaping it. And that's why this episode matters. Because Alvin and Bruce weren't just going somewhere. Let's talk about the 4-point pre-trip checklist. And this is for any kind of travel. Number one, preview the day. Predictability protects comprehension. Alvin and Jill talk through the whole travel day before they even packed a single bag. Everything from the logistics of getting to the airport to going through baggage, checking their bags, airport arrivals, security, boarding, meal times, snacks they plan to have, the gate they knew their flight would leave from. They also planned for the noise that was likely to be there. And when you can predict and think through the day ahead of you, you have fewer surprises and it gives you more control. Step two, Pack your communication essentials. This is where phase 3 travel becomes real because this is the application phase of everything you've done in your recovery to this point. Alvin made a simple album on his phone with familiar photos and simple sentences that described each one. So when he traveled to see the family at the holidays, he was ready with something to talk about. He wasn't waiting for someone to bring up a topic. Now that he has those photos and captions prepared, anytime small talk gets heavy or he needs to pivot a topic or conversation, he can reach for these photos because it's something familiar. He is no longer searching or trying to make it up on the fly. And he also carries that small but mighty card in his wallet. It's the card that says, I have aphasia. I know what I want to say. I just need more time. That card becomes his confidence on paper. Step 3, request support early. This is not asking for special treatment. This is leading your own communication. What Alvin and Jill did is they booked mobility assistance early. They knew that at the airport they were leaving from and traveling to, that there was going to be a lot of walking. When he has to put out extra physical effort, he loses his speech. And his priority was maintaining his speech. So, what they did is they figured out on the airport website how to book that wheelchair to get them where they needed to go. And they knew that they needed to move from one terminal to a next on a train. They built an extra long layover that would allow him to make that transition, get some food, and have some downtime before the next leg of their travel. They contacted TSA Cares. It's how you can let TSA know that you have a communication impairment and how you can communicate that both ahead of time and when you're there in the moment. They thought through the noise levels at the terminal. When they got to their gate, they checked in with a flight attendant at the desk and let her know that he was going to need a little extra time and what was going on. When the environment is predictable, communication becomes much more easy. Step 4, plan the quiet moments. This is often the part that families forget, or they may not know that it's so important. Communication runs on stamina and gas in the gas tank, and it's not a matter of mind over matter, nor is it a matter of effort. Alvin needed 2 recharge breaks planned into the day when he was traveling through these 2 airports. These were not emergency breaks, they were planned breaks. When you protect the gas tank before it empties, you protect the whole day. If this message is helping you see yourself differently, if it's giving you another perspective so that you can plan and prepare to maximize your communication and your involvement, please tap like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us reach many more families living with aphasia so they too can find the real tools to help make life easier. Tell me in the comments, when you prepare the living phase of your recovery, what is one thing that you want to be able to do again that's for yourself? Something that lights you up, that gives you meaning and purpose. There is no wrong answer. Not every dream has to be big. Sometimes the living starts with making a phone call and connecting with someone that's important to you, but you'd lost contact with. Maybe it's meeting a friend for coffee, or it's traveling to a place that you've always dreamed of seeing because you want to go, because you're invested in it, and not because somebody else needs you to be there. So, how do we make real life travel adjustments? One thing we know for sure is no matter who you are, travel almost never goes exactly as planned. Flights shift, the train is late, the Uber neglected to pick you up. Also, someone talks too fast, or they talk right over you and they're not willing to listen to you, or they dismiss you, or they ask three questions in one breath and you barely heard the first one. Also, with travel, announcements, plan for it. Have your headphones ready. Let the person you're traveling with listen to the announcements and you check out. Know that the crowds get loud. Know that people are hurrying and are short tempered and may push you out of the way, or they may just butt in. Whatever the case is, you can be prepared with your strategies. Write them down, think about them, practice them. Make sure you know what can work for you at these moments when you are going to be tested. Alvin and Jill use a wrist tap, one small signal that means I need a rest, I'm done. Bruce and his son use that same wrist tap for the same purpose. It's just a nice, subtle way where nobody else knows what's going on, but you can communicate nonverbally. So for each of these folks, they stepped aside, they took a breath, they went and got a drink, they sat down in a quiet place to recharge. When they got home, Alvin said something that stayed with me. He said, I felt like me again. My speech wasn't perfect, but I got to plan the trip that I wanted. I got to do the things I wanted to do. I was able to roll with the chaos and the stress and the problems that always pop up. And this is the power of the travel mindset. This is the power of phase 3 of aphasia recovery. You don't wait for confidence, you build it. If this episode is opening your eyes to what the living phase can look like, here's what I want you to hear. When your words and thoughts don't work like they used to, you're not alone. Many people reach this point long after rehab ends and they feel stuck because they don't know that there is a next step. But when you work with us, we help you build on your strengths so you can return to living, not just coping. You don't have to wonder if connection or meaning will ever feel possible again. They will. And it starts with a connection call. The link is below to work with us. And in our next episode, we'll talk about how to turn this growing confidence into teamwork so travel and gatherings and any get together that you choose becomes easier and more enjoyable for both of you. Recovery doesn't end. Rebuild communication, rebuild connection, rebuild life. This is life beyond aphasia.